Good morning. This is Munira from Chicagoland. I am the CEO and founder of Kismet Ventures, Inc. And I am on a mission to expose and promote people who are doing different things in their life that are adding value to people. And most people don't recognize the value they're adding, and they just think of it as a task that they have to do every day or every so often in their lives. But I'm finding such gems within our society that I want to expose them and promote them and bring awareness to the people about how they can change people's lives. Today, our guest is Curlethia Swanigan. Did I say that right? I hope. And Curlethia and I we've known each other since 2002. Yes.
Long time.
In a long time. And I'm finding out as I pull the layers of the onion behind that she is doing extraordinary stuff. But I want her to tell this all in her own words. So welcome, Curlethia. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. And tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're doing.
Okay. Well, thank you, Munira, for having me. My name is Curlethia Swanigan, and I'm from North Little Rock, Arkansas. That is not the same as Little Rock, Arkansas. We are across the river. But I'm a native of North Little Rock, Arkansas. I attended college in New Orleans, Louisiana. I majored in biology and German. And I kind of floated around, tossed around the idea of going to medical school, and decided I didn't like that. And I moved to Texas for about 6 years, and I ended up back here in Arkansas. I have been married for going on 17 years in this month on the 23rd. My husband William and I own a catering business, and we also hold down day jobs too. But the things that we like to do, other than your work, apparently, is we like to help out in the community. Every year we host an event called Boogie for Boobies, and it is a Zumba-thon, and Zumba is a aerobic style, but it's a Zumba-thon that we use as a fundraiser to raise money for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. That's our big event every year. Other things that we do in our catering business is we take young people who don't have jobs or don't have a lot of experience or have been having trouble getting jobs or their first job. We hire them to work with us to get experience in food service, not regular old McDonald's food service, but kind of a higher class food service industry. They learn how to cater, how to prep, how to cook, how to serve, things like that. My mother runs a food pantry, and a food pantry is just basically an extension of the food bank. So it feeds the homeless in the area. And she's 87 years old. She runs that all by herself. What we do is we like to contribute to that food bank, and there's also a clothes closet there. So we collect clothes and donate. We collect food, canned good items, dry goods, perishable items to take over to the food bank. And also this month in Arkansas is the Great Cereal Drive. And what happens is the local television stations have a big competition for cereal collection. And those cereal collections go to the food bank and are distributed to the food pantries for people who have small children who normally only eat at school. A large portion of the population here in Arkansas is impoverished, and there is what's called food insecurity. And that means that, you may have food, you may not be homeless and hungry, but you're not really sure where your next meal is coming from. And so these food banks and food pantries, they serve to help those who have food insecurity, especially children. And this time of year, it's June. Here in Arkansas, school is out. And during the fall and the spring, sometimes the only meal that that child receives is the meal that they get at school. My parents were teachers. My three sisters are teachers. One is still a teacher. And they know that that one meal that they get in school is the most important meal because a lot of times that is the only meal. So the cereal drive that happens during the summer is to provide backpacks of cereal for those children who otherwise would not have a meal. And that's another thing that we do. We make sure that if we have, because we are a catering business, we're not a restaurant, so we don't keep a stockpile in a dry storage room full of food. We don't have cases and cases of food that we go through. So if we over order for an event, then whatever we have that has not been used, opened, distributed, we don't give them used food, but whatever hasn't been opened, we make sure that that finds its way over to the food pantry. And our church is also, we have a soup kitchen at our church that feeds the homeless 5 days a week, or the hungry. It's not necessarily the homeless, but 5 days a week they serve a meal to those people who don't have anything to eat. And we have a clothes closet at our church. Everything costs $1 no matter what it is. And so we make sure that we donate to the church as well, and we help out there.
Wow, you're an all-rounded person. So tell me about your day job.
So my day job, I work for a company called ABC Financial Services, and we are the billers for gym and health clubs. And we also create the software that gyms and health clubs use for member management, check-in, billing, things like that. So I'm a corporate trainer, and I am actually a customer facing trainer. I don't train, I used to train internally for our new hires, but now I train our clients directly in how to use our software platforms. We have several different software platforms. And the one thing about my job that is the most important thing about my job is we have a very strong community presence. I mentioned my Zumbathon that is partially sponsored by my company. I proposed the idea to the CEO, and he was like, "I love this idea. We're on board with whatever you need." And then he got me in contact with one of the local gyms here, and the gym owner is just extremely helpful. He lets me use any of his facilities, anything that I need. He's right there. He has several different locations throughout Arkansas and Missouri, and he allows us to have that event. So it's a huge event. This is our almost our 8th year. This is coming up our 8th year doing this, but we participate in the Race for the Cure here. We participate in the Junior Diabetes Walk. ABC is huge. The Arkansas Children's Hospital, we have a fundraiser every year for the Children's Hospital, for St. Jude, Easter Seals, you name it. Our company is wholeheartedly involved. And that's when you think of company cultures, you want to find wherever you work, you want to work with somebody who cares with anybody that's outside of themselves. We don't just care about us and what we're doing. We care about the communities that we impact because we're in these communities.
That is so awesome because very few companies, I mean, they give. Most companies do give. The philanthropy is there, but they're not, people are not involved as much, right? So
Correct.
you're right. You want to be involved. So you started a care. So I'm going to go back to what you said. You started a catering business. When did you start that? I mean, what prompted you to start that, and what kind of foods?
My husband and I keep going back and forth because the funny thing about our catering business is there's no real timeline. It started out, potluck at work. And hey, can you make this for my child's birthday party? Or hey, can you cook this for me tonight for dinner? Because you cook it really well, and I don't know how to cook it. And it just kind of progressed. But we threw a name out there one day, and it was a really cool name, Black Swan Catering. So hey, okay, we're going to call it that whenever we need it. And over the years, so we started cooking probably around 2005. but we didn't have a legitimate business at the time. It was just, friends and family, word of mouth, things like that. It wasn't until actually 2016 that we actually started the process of getting the business license, getting our things certified, getting our tax ID and things like that. And it wasn't until 2017, last year, actually, that we got we filed our taxes with the state, with the IRS. We got a certified kitchen. We actually have a kitchen that we work out of. People aren't doing things in their homes. It's not safe. But so I would say in 2017, our business really picked up, and that's when we became Black Swan Catering. We actually have been running commercials now on television. We did a couple of spots on TV. We actually, since we were talking about impacting people, one of the news stations here, KTHV, had an event, a fundraising event called Saving a Generation, and it was to address the opiate crisis in the United States, especially here in Arkansas. And we donated the catering for that event. It was about 315 people, a sold out event. We donated the catering for that event, and it was just awesome. It was very impactful. There were a lot of outreach services there, state agencies. It was just a wonderful event for everyone.
So, what kind of food do you cook?
We do a lot of smoked meats. This weekend we smoked briskets and chickens, but we also do Cajun and Creole food. I went to college in New Orleans, and while I was in school, I worked at the New Orleans School of Cooking down in Jack's Brewery. And I learned, I picked up a few things, not a whole lot, but enough to be dangerous. And of course, just being in Louisiana, you have to figure out how to cook. You have to. You're in Louisiana. That's a waste if you don't. But my husband went to culinary school in Louisiana. We didn't even meet. This was 10 years before we met. But he went to school at Nicholls State, Louisiana, in Thibodaux, Louisiana, and he was in the inaugural class of the Chef John Folks Academy. So he learned to cook in Louisiana, and then here in Arkansas, he worked at several kitchens and restaurants, anything from a dishwasher to the executive chef. He was a kitchen manager at University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So he's the one with the professional experience. I'm the one that can cook, that likes to cook. He can cook. He cooks very well. But I'm the one who actually has that passion and that drive to cook.
So, how do you juggle time between your day job and your catering, plus the other curricular activities?
Right. You have to have a calendar. 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 You have to have an Amazon Echo so that you can tell your Echo to set a reminder to get up and slice the beef at 7 o'clock in the morning, like this morning. You have to use your phone, and every appointment you make, be it my day job or my home job or my personal business, every appointment you make, you keep it. You put it down somewhere, you write it down, you set a reminder, you follow up. When I get emails from potential clients, I follow up immediately or as quickly as I can, even if it's just to say, hey, I can't get with you right now, but expect something from me in the next 24 hours. Or my day job, it's the same thing. I am highly focused on making sure that I'm accountable for everything I do. So if it's an email, if somebody emails me something, I reply. I star it or code it, color code it to make sure that, hey, you need to follow up on this, or this is where you are in this. When I do my catering jobs, I print out our invoices and the date of the event, and I make sure that I have a list of everything that I'm serving. I keep folders, and it's a lot, but if you can really do it, if you stay focused. I have a whiteboard that has all of my activities on it. We have several layers of reminders.
Okay. So, so let me ask you this. One thing that you said was really amazing to me. You said you bring in people who are not able to find jobs and help them get this art, right? Get it down. So, where do you find these people, and how do you help them? I mean, tell me
Uh,
the process.
the craziest thing today, at 6 o'clock tonight, I have a meeting with a young lady who called me. She's called me out of the blue. She saw one of my commercials running, and she asked me, "Are we hiring?" And I was like, "Well, we're always looking for help because, we don't have a staff. We Because it's catering. Again, we don't have a staff because we're not doing this every day, all day. But we're always looking for someone to help. There's always that opportunity. But I usually get requests from people I know who have kids who are about the age to join the workforce. Um, I have a friend who actually has a consultation business, and he works with the state of Arkansas workforce. And he finds people that need employment, and maybe they can't work a whole lot due to disability, or they have an issue where they are not physically able to work a lot, but they can work a little bit, and this is the perfect type of job for them. You can work maybe 4 hours a week, and that's all you're needed just to serve for 4 hours a week. um, like I said, my mom runs a food pantry, and so there are a lot of people that are not employed and are looking for a job, or looking. People don't always want you to give them something. They want to be able to do something, and there a lot of times people don't understand that. You're just waiting on a handout. Well, no, I'm waiting on a hand up. I'm waiting for some help. I'm waiting on somebody to give me that opportunity to do something.
So, how many people so far have you helped, and have stayed with you?
Probably yeah, about six or so. I'm not in the hundreds, but for a small business, I have, I know seven. Okay. I know a core group of four people that have been with me over the years, helping out as much as possible. And sometimes I have one young lady who she works with me for free, absolutely for free, because she wants to learn how to do it for herself. Because her job, her hope is to one day own her own business. And that's another thing about what I think about competition. And I know you didn't ask me this, but I have a theory on competition. There's enough room in this town for everybody. So I always help out as much as I can. I know other caterers, and if it's something I think that they can do, that I can pass it along to them. I feel like there's enough room to help everybody. There's I'm booked for the month. I have been fully booked for the month of June. Last weekend, I had 4 jobs on one day, so I'm good. And I don't see it being a problem helping somebody else.
Okay, so when you find opportunity to have another kitchen help you out, they do some of the catering because you're so busy.
I've given a whole events away. I just gave an event away the other day where I was like, I won't be able to. I'm not going to be here because I have an event that day, and my husband has a separate event that day. So we're split up. So there's another event came in, and I was like, hey, I know exactly the person for you. And so, it
That,
doesn't
so
hurt me at all.
networking and collaboration, right?
Yes, it is collaborating, and they have done the same. I've had some wonderful people that I work with because we work in what's called a kitchen incubator, which is a shared kitchen. And so I work with several other businesses. There is an Indian restaurant that does, they have a kiosk and they do rice around the city. They work with me. There's a guy who does Philly cheesesteaks. There's another vegan company, and there's a lady who does desserts. And so there are all these different companies in this kitchen, and it's easy to say, "Hey, do you want this job, or can you help me with this?" And it works wonderfully. It's great collaboration.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Aren't you afraid of a competition? But you answered it. So let me ask you this. So you are helping people who are in need of helping jobs. How many people, in your opinion, have learned the skill that you have, but you have passed on to them and have gainfully are gainfully employed?
Well, I know two people that actually used to work with me at Cardinal that have started their own catering businesses. And right before they started, they asked me questions. What is it like? What do you do? How did you get this? How do you do your pricing? Oh, sure. Here's that information. And they took that information and they are now running successful catering businesses too.
Wonderful. That is awesome. I find value in what you do, and that's really sad. And the other, I read the other day where the state of Austin, I think in Texas, they are
Okay.
hiring homeless people to keep the city clean.
Hmm.
And the city hasn't looked this clean because people who live on the streets are embracing this job, and there are plans to create housing for them where these people who are are now employed will go and have a place to shower and sleep. So that to me is how much value can we share? It's sad that you say that there are children out there who don't have a good meal. And that to me was, when you were saying that, there was goosebumps. But the thing is, um why in this great nation do we have this,
Right.
right? Why? And if you it shouldn't be like this anywhere in the world. I come from East Africa and I've seen poverty, I've seen people living in slums, but it is what it is. But they shouldn't be hungry. I mean, regardless of the fact that wherever you are, you shouldn't be hungry.
Yeah, under the basic tenets of life, right? The basic tenets of civilization, food and shelter are the first. Food, clean water, and shelter. Those are the first three things that define basic civilization and modern civilization. And it's sad, like you said, that a rich country, we are one of the richest countries,
Yes.
still has areas where people lack those three basic tenets of life. You shouldn't have to worry if you're going to eat or not when there are people throwing away food every day.
That is so true. Which reminds me, which is going to be a segment later, but there are people out there who are constantly going to restaurants and collecting food that is supposed to be thrown away.
Hmm.
And the fact, I mean, I have a lot. I mean, our culture is one culture that there's zero wastage. You
Right.
only take what you eat. I know in China and Japan, there are restaurants out there who, when you go for a buffet, you pay for the buffet in the
Charge.
beginning, and then in the end, whatever you throw away, they'll measure it and charge you some more because they
There
don't
are a
want
few
to waste.
restaurants here.
They do. I
Hmm.
didn't know about that. But the thing is, it's sad that in this country, but I love the fact that you're an angel for a lot of people. I think these qualities were instilled upon you by your mother, and she is, my hats off to her. That I had a hat. The thing is that she's 87 and running this pantry single-handedly, and the fact that she's also helping people who do not have much, right?
Hmm.
And so I hear a lot of messages in your interview where you said there's collaboration, there's competition. So collaborate because there's enough to go around. Compete, don't compete. So I hear that, don't compete but collaborate.
Hmm.
The other message I heard was give a hand up instead of a hand down. What else did you say? You said, you said, you
you
know,
just
be
you
organized.
if yes, be organized. If if you want to say that competition is a healthy thing, it is, especially if you're competing with yourself. Try to, if you want to compete, beat yourself at what you're doing. I do this really well. I want to do it better than I was doing it before. That is your best competition, is yourself. Other people, you're not going to do what they do. Your people aren't going to like everything you do. Everyone has a different taste. But whatever it is that you do it better than you did it yesterday.
My mother used to cater, and
I
she
know.
had acute asthma, right? And she used to do some catering, and she used to be really tired by the end of it. But she did it because she needed the money. And
Mhm.
there were times when things wouldn't turn out the way she wanted it to turn out, or she was running late because of her illness.
The worst part.
Yeah, and then when I came to America, I started doing the same thing. But the people that were supposed to help you out and give you orders, one never showed up with the money. They came, took the food, and never showed up. It's like those, okay, can you cook this for me because I really need it and I'll pick it up when I'm on my way home from work. And then they don't come with the money, and then they forget that they need to pay you. That's
Hmm.
And number two was that they always were haggling about the price. And I was a
Yes.
yeah, I was single mother trying to
Yeah.
do this, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yes. It is very difficult. That you have hit on the two biggest issues. If you asked me what the two biggest issues would be, it would be that people don't respect your work and what you put into it. So, and when I say by don't respect your work, I mean I charge you a certain amount because that is what it's worth. It is not just the food that you're paying for. You're paying for my time. You're paying for the lights. I got to keep the lights on in order to cook your food.
Yes,
And the electric company doesn't care if you were late with my payment. They're only cared about me being late with theirs.
yes,
And my expertise. If you could do it, you would have done it.
yes,
So you couldn't have done it without me. So you have to respect me enough to pay me,
true.
and pay me what I ask you to pay me and when I ask you to pay me. I've had several organizations, including some agencies, that I've had to, chase down and say, "Hey, still waiting on that check. It's been 3 weeks now." And I've had to wait up to 6 weeks before for payment, and that is unfortunate because when you do that, like you were a single mother at the time. I remember when you were cooking actually, and I remember didn't you do your daughter's wedding?
Yes,
I remember that. See, and but the thing about it is, if I'm doing this, I'm doing this for a reason.
yes,
And yes, I'm doing it because I love it, but I'm also doing it because it pays the bill.
yes. So, then it became, for me, it became a resort thing that, let's just do 4 jobs. Every week you do different things, and then you get some money in, but don't do catering because it's not worth it. So then there's a mindset. I don't want to do that. Had I
Uh-huh.
continued, I would have become a better cook.
Whatever.
But I leave that to you and your husband.
No.
That's on catering. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. And I'll post this YouTube. If people like it, they can share, subscribe to my channel, and like it. And we'll leave information for Black Swans catering on the video. And let me know if there are other people in this world who are doing a valuable thing, instilling values in other people's lives, so that I can go interview them and then learn from these people, because these are angels that need to be recognized. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Manir. I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone who's watching. You all have a wonderful and a blessed day.
Thank you.